Howdy y'all, I'm the Social Regressive, and as part of the patriarchy, I am here to review women's boots. This is the Salomon X Ultra GTX, so this has a true Gore-Tex membrane on the inside, well known for being very waterproof and breathable, and you can see that there's a whole lot of the fabric running through here. This is one of the boots that I tested, no, not the women's boot, but actually, my wife and we tested a whole bunch of different boots to see which one was going to fit us and which was going to work for Colorado hiking. Everything that I did, Allison did, and she did better. And as part of the patriarchy, I think I need to take it out on her somehow. But, yeah, she really enjoyed these boots quite a bit. I was wearing the Keen Targhee 3 waterproof. And yeah, she had these and we did all the same stuff. And she has some notes on these that I'll be delivering to you guys. First off, these are extremely lightweight. These were some of the most lightweight boots that we had in all the testing that we did, all the various kind of off-the-shelf boots that we could get. And they really came into their own because of that. These are just very easy to take out. You can kind of jump right into a hike without having to do, an extreme warm-up for a couple days. Yeah, these just pick up and put down really easily. Good heel strike on these, good roll through the toe. And you can see that here on the X Ultra, this has a little bit more of that shortened toe that I prefer on hiking boots, because they're going to be less likely to catch on rocks and roots, and it's just going to be kind of a smoother motion overall. Our feet aren't really built to points, so I'm still not exactly sure why we have so many boots with extremely long toes, especially the backpacking ones. But these just have a really smooth motion, and again, they're going to be less likely to catch on stuff. Now that said, I think that based on the hikes that we did, these did catch on those roots and rocks more than me with my Keens. And I think that if I were wearing the X Ultras, it probably would have been about the same thing too. I probably would have caught my toes on more things, just because it's not quite as bluff as a Keen. Aside from that though, these are really well armored. It has a good kind of hard material around the fabric, so you don't have really direct fabric contact with rocks, sticks, any of the underbrush that you're walking through. This is going to catch a lot of that stuff and prevent damage to the boot and damage to the foot. Overall, Allison was just really, really happy with how comfortable her feet were through all the stuff that we did, going up to the tops of mountains, which were going to be much more steep, both on some pretty steep uphills and downhills. She didn't really feel like her toes were going to get bruised in any way. It held her foot in position really well, good arch support, and no real rubbing anywhere on here except on our backpacking trip on the last day. When we were doing some downhills, she said that she could feel just a little bit of pressure on this joint right here. So right on the bottom. She could feel that just a tad, but she said it was more like, kind of working the callus than leading to any blisters or anything. So yeah, no real complaints on the comfort on this. One thing she also really liked was the height of the boot. Her ankles are, a bit on the thinner side, and this saved her ankles quite a few times when we came into some rocky terrain, some kind of slippery terrain where there was a possibility of an ankle twist. This saved her quite a bit, and that's why I personally recommend for everybody, guys and gals. I know that a lot of folks really like the trail runners because they feel more free, you get more flexibility in the foot, but especially as the day goes on and your muscles get more tired, it becomes much easier to roll that ankle. And so I always go for at least a mid-height boot, and heck, if I can get it, I'll get some 8-inchers. I've gone into some really gnarly terrain with some taller boots and come out of it without having damaged myself, and I'm a big fan of that. The waterproofing on here seemed to work 100% perfectly, like you would expect from Gore-Tex, but I will throw out the same caveat that I did with the Keens. Some people will complain about if you walk through grass with dew on it, that it will go through these membranes. And you're going to see this actually on all boots because apparently it does affect all boots. I've never worn a waterproof boot that I could take out into a tall, dewy field and it not penetrate the fabric. And I'm guessing it's because of the speed of the foot through it, just kind of slapping that water in there. But for anything else, standing in creeks, walking across even, kind of raging creeks, rain. This stuff is going to keep all of that out, and it is going to ventilate really well. I know that in my own test where I was testing an X Ultra, that it just seemed to breathe better than a lot of the other boots that I was testing, possibly the best of the bunch. It goes straight out everywhere. All that moisture on the inside, Gore-Tex works, and it does actually ventilate out there, and these felt really good to me. As a reminder, the reason that I didn't choose the X Ultra for myself, even the wide model, is that it just wasn't wide enough for me. Or maybe it was, but there was some kind of structural thing that was really pressing against the bones in my foot, and it was very uncomfortable. But if you have more of a normal size foot, this is gonna work out well. Now here's a little bit of a funky thing. We ordered 2 different size 8s for Allison. One of them was wide and one of them was narrow, and the narrow one actually felt wider, and I don't understand that at all. She said that it felt wider, felt more comfortable, and so we went with the regular. I don't know if somebody switched the boxes, but no, it actually did say wide, actually on the boot. So who knows what happened there. Any other notes, babe? Oh yeah, let's mention that. Of course, one of the things that makes all of this possible is a good sock. And so both of us were wearing the Darn Tough socks. This is the most highly recommended piece of backpacking gear that I can come up with. I'm gonna put a link down below so you can go directly to these. They have all kinds of different sizes, all kinds of different styles. For her, she wanted to go with more of a ventilated sock. Actually, did you have 2 different ones? Did you have a ventilated and more of a boot one? I'll put direct links to what I actually bought down below so you can see what worked. I think that we got some that were just like this. A good thick cushion on the bottom, crew height, and this thinner mesh at the top that breathes right out. And she really had no complaints about her feet at all. We got into camp and she just took the boots off. And actually that's one more thing. These didn't get smelly at all, did they, babe? No. Yeah, the Keens got a little bit funky. People talk about that with the Keen dry membrane. They got just a touch funky, and they have an insole that is supposed to help with that. And I guess it does, because it's nowhere near as funky as my hunting boots get. But this one, I don't recall any kind of strange smell about this. But yeah, combined with these socks, it all worked out really well. Now here's a quick description of what we did all together. We did directly about 30 miles of hiking in the Colorado wilderness area. We were in the San Isabel National Forest. And actually the trails were pretty well marked. They were good trails. But they had plenty of steep sections, long sections of uphill, long sections of downhill. And then we actually did a climb up to almost the top of Trinchera. We kind of went off to the side up next to Trinchera, and we ended up at about 13,000 feet right there. And that was actually the first real big trail hike that Al had ever done, and these took her right to the top with no problems, and she was huffing and puffing less than I was. So yeah, great boots, good gear, good testing area with lots of scree, lots of rocks. There was grass that we had to deal with, stream crossings, all kinds of stuff. And that does bring up one thing. The grip on the bottom of these didn't seem to be quite as good on wet rock as mine. How did it feel to you, babe? Yeah, when we got into some of the more algae covered rocks in some of the warmer areas, these did slip a little bit. I didn't feel mine slip quite so much in the wet there, but on a lot of these surfaces, these really, the grip here is very chunky. It grips really well, both forward, backward, and then sideways on some of the slopes that we were walking sideways on. My last note is that these looked really fine on those legs. I liked being the guy that was walking behind.
No! I'll do it.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Even if you didn't like this particular content, go ahead and subscribe. There's probably something coming that's more up your alley. Check out this playlist right here. This is going to have videos in a similar vein to what you just watched. These 2 videos we cherry-picked for you. And finally, The Social Regressive is on Patreon. So you can become a patron of the Destructive Arts and earn some goodies while helping us to provide high quality videos just by kicking us a few bucks a month. Thanks a bunch for your patronage.